Welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Lara, and today I'm here with Sunny Mulford with Epic-Cure. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. This podcast is really important to us. All of the podcasts that we do are really important. But I think that what you guys do for Putnam County and the reason that we're here right now with the necessity of having this conversation is something that everybody needs to hear. I'd like to start off by finding out how you got to Putnam County and even got involved in Epic-Cure.
Okay. Well, Epicure was founded in 2019 or 2018, rather, when we watched a documentary called Wasted, the Story of Food Waste, where we learned that 30 to 40% of all the food produced in the United States ends up in a landfill, all while 1 in 6 people don't have enough food to eat. So we formed our corporation, got our warehouse, and started doing food distributions in St. Johns County and St. Augustine in May of 2019.
Mhm.
So then COVID hit 2020. And one of our sources that we get food from, Feeding Northeast Florida, hired restaurant workers to stay working in their restaurants and create meals that then would be delivered to people that were homebound, because everybody was kind of on lockdown then. And so we met Ed Killebrew from Palaca here, and he arranged for a whole bunch of volunteers to deliver meals to people in need. And over a 3 or 4 month period, they delivered, I think it was 15,000 meals here in Putnam County. And so just through that experience, we became associated with the great need that was here in Putnam County. And so then we set our sights on getting another warehouse and setting up an operation here. So that same, right around, I guess it was April of 2020, we received one $20,000 donation. And we said, all right, this is our sign that we're going to try and go and make a go of it here. So Ed helped us find a warehouse, and we met Breck Sloan, and we looked at his warehouse, and it was absolutely perfect. I mean, it was so much bigger and better than we could have imagined. But we were on a budget of only $2,000 a month because we wanted to give ourselves 6 months with that one donation to see if we could make it work.
Sure.
And so he leased us this 15,000 square foot warehouse for $2,000 a month until, and he said after 6 months, the price will go up to market price. Well, after 6 months, we couldn't pass inspection to open like we needed to until the roof was replaced. And that was a big ticket item. And he was going to rely on rent from a nonprofit that relied on donations. So we kind of had this stalemate for a little while. But after a year and a half, we finally got the roof done. And then we were able to open for grocery store style shopping instead of doing drive-through distributions. And so since that time in Putnam County, we have distributed about 14 or 15 million pounds of food. Yes, million pounds of food. And currently this year, because we've been increasing our sources this whole time, we're putting out between $1 and $1.5 million worth of food in Putnam County every month. And we serve about 1,400 families every week, but we also provide food to many other nonprofits that work here, Soup Kitchens, so Bread of Life, Feed the Need, Rhoda Haver's Boys Ranch. There's a list in not just in this county, but we actually do 6 counties where we provide food to other nonprofits.
So you really are the repository of the need. Mm-hmm. And all of these other people. So just through your organization, you're feeding, 1,400, you said?
Yeah, just in Putnam County. Right. But we also, we do distributions in 4 counties, but our biggest by far is Putnam County. And I know people think of us as a St. John's organization, but about a year and a half ago, our warehouse in St. Augustine is 2,000 square feet. The warehouse here is 15,000 square feet, and we built massive cold storage infrastructure there so that we could take in these large loads. I mean, just Monday we received 40,000 pounds of bananas. Today we're receiving an entire truckload of potatoes. And then because we get so much of that, that's why we're able to help so many other organizations in all surrounding counties. And honestly, we've been getting so much in lately that we've been donating a lot to the Putnam County Jail, just because we need help moving the massive amounts of food that we're getting in.
You would never really think about that, at the level somebody gives you this food. And you and your husband
yes
organized all of this. Like, how do you even go about Like you just start making phone calls? Like I don't.
Well, in that documentary, it kind of described the, specific areas that where there was a lot of waste, and we decided to focus on the retail, wholesale, farm, and manufacturing and trucking companies. And so, every time you see a truck drive by and it has a phone number on it, you call. You contact stores, you develop sources, and so and work with lots of other agencies. We work with Feeding Northeast Florida. We work with Farm Share, and we pick up food from all the way up to North Jacksonville down to Orlando every week. Our trucks are on the road, 7 days a week doing pickups and then distributions, because while our warehouse is set up like a grocery store, we also do mobile distributions because we want to get the food to where people can access it. So every week we do a distribution in Crescent City every Friday, and we also do another one in downtown Palaca at the Refuge. And between those two distributions, we serve another 300 families every week. And then once a month we do one in Interlaken. But then in St. Johns County, we're all over the county, and we do one in Flagler and then one in Duval as well. But this warehouse here supports all of those distributions because it has that massive storage capacity.
So really, that's unlike the others.
Yes.
And then, I have done an interview with Denise with Feed the Need, and that 800 families doing the snack bags over the weekend was jaw dropping to me. But really, you're knocking on the door of 2,000 families.
Yes, and then we give them, our statistics right now, because we're rescuing so much food, and the more food we get, the more we're able to give out at every distribution, and the more we're able to supply the other agencies. So each family is getting, between 70 and 90 pounds of food every week. So it's a significant economic relief to those families.
And obviously a need that it's not like you're serving 100, 200. I mean, there seems to be a scarcity in that area.
Oh yes, our waiting list is, we had to just close our waiting list down because the waiting list got so long, and we get calls just constantly. And as the inflation has gotten worse, and the impacts over time of inflation have gotten worse, our phones just ring off the hook, and we're doing everything we can to keep up with the need. Yeah, and that's not going to get better anytime soon.
No, not by any means. Now, are you volunteer based?
Yeah, we're a 100% volunteer organization, including myself. My husband and I are both volunteers as well.
7 days a week.
7 days a week, yeah.
Sounds like a full-time job for sure.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. More than a full-time job. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I just think about just with the podcast, our goal here is to share information with our community, share history, do things just like this. And I know that I spend 7 days a week, making sure I'm responding to people and gathering resources and whatever that might be. So you need more than 7 days a week to do what you're doing.
We have amazing volunteers. Like our volunteers, they're just, I can't even describe how amazing they are, because they just never let the ball drop. If we have to be there at 11 o'clock at night because there's a truckload coming in there, they'll be there. If there's a truckload coming in at 4 o'clock in the morning, they will be there. If, the storm the other night, one of our volunteers stayed there all night to make sure that we didn't lose power and could turn the generator on if we needed to. So, I mean, they are just, they're amazing. They're intelligent, they're hardworking, and, have huge hearts and love the mission, and just can't stand to see that food go to waste. I mean, imagine 40,000 pounds of bananas going to the landfill instead of ending up with people. And so that's one of the, the big things that we get is, 30 to 35, 30, well, I'll say 34 to 38% of all the food that we get right now is produce, fresh produce, which is the healthy, nutritious food that people need. We're not getting processed food. We get everything that you see at any grocery store, anywhere we get, plus on any farm.
Well, I have seen one of the boxes that came home, a family friend had shared what they got. And I mean, it's not just fruits, vegetables, meats, starches,
dairy,
drinks, dairy. I mean, I was floored. It really did look like somebody made a shopping list. And it is not just, the great value brand, if you will, the name brand, or they've got name brand in there. I mean, I've seen all kinds of stuff. It really is incredible. And to think that, first of all, you are preventing that from going to a landfill. the fact that there would be that much in a landfill.
Mm-hmm.
Like I definitely want to go watch that documentary after that
Yeah, because the other big thing is, we all hear about greenhouse gases and global warming. Well, food going into landfills accounts for 6% in the US of all of our greenhouse gases, and it's 8% globally. So we are throwing food into the landfill and creating this environmental problem, all while it could be used to help people in need.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. So
That's really
that's why we're all
mind-blowing.
passionate about it. So, like I said, we
Yeah.
see the food. It's not, and I think rescued food has this uh, misconception, or people have a misconception about the quality of the food because they think rescued food, oh, it can't be good. It is amazing, and sometimes it's better than anything you can get at the store because, like I said, if it comes straight from a farm or it's a truckload being delivered to a store that's going to sell it, and maybe there's just one case at the top of a pallet that's damaged. Well, they'll reject the whole pallet of food.
Wild.
Just because one case is damaged. Well, it's like, all right, well, we send that one case to the farm to feed animals and we give the rest away.
That's wild. That whole concept.
Mm-hmm.
I saw I guess it was some kind of ad. They were talking about like this food box that you could get and how stores will reject produce that doesn't look pretty. Like, okay, the bell pepper isn't perfectly formed, and so
it can be the wrong size. So just the other day, well, just on yesterday, we got in a whole bunch of zucchinis, but they were this big, and the stores want them the perfect size, and you'll get a whole crop of potatoes because they're too big or too small, for like potato chips, or like a potato chip manufacturer has their own farmland or their own contracts to buy potatoes, but if they're not the right size, they basically till them all under or donate them to to fight hunger. And so it's all those things that we see, are just massive surpluses. I mean, one time we got in, I think it was like 16,000 pounds of cucumbers just because they were too big. That's a lot of cucumbers, let me tell you what. We honestly had to send about half of those to the farm to feed animals because there's only so many cucumbers you can give away, even with a massive network of organizations that you work with.
Yeah, but the fact that you're putting a dent on it, and the fact that, again, that number is astounding to me when I think about, I just think about an attendance at a festival or an event and how many people come, and I can visualize 2,000, almost 2,000 families. Like you are keeping them from going starving or not being able to pay a bill because they have to feed their children. So
yeah, we hear that all the time. That because of the food and the resources that they get from us, they're a senior is able to pay for their medication instead of having to make that choice between medicine and food, or gas and food, electricity and food. Those are conversations that happen all the time.
That's wild.
The feedback is that way all the time.
Right. Well, everything. I still just trying to take in the magnitude of what you and your husband have created, and really the reason that we're here right now is I see the benefit, and now we're calling on the community to step up and help us. So if you'll explain a little bit about the recent changes to the warehouse that you have here in Putnam County.
Yeah, so when we came here with our little $20,000 check to rent that 15,000 square foot space, and we were, just a year old as a nonprofit, we had no negotiating power. So we rented we signed a lease for 5 years, so that it's actually not up until April, but they put in a clause that at any point they could give us 90 days to move out. Just makes sense, with
business.
And so now our landlord, his business is expanding significantly, and so he needs that space for his own growing business. So we have to move, and we have to move quickly. So our deadline for being out is December 1st, which is very, very soon. So we have to raise the money. We found another space that we can rent. It's perfect space. It's got 3-phase power. It's got loading docks for semi trucks, and so it's just absolutely perfect. But it's going to cost us $100,000 to move our large scale commercial refrigeration equipment and do the improvements that we need to make that space ready to pass USDA inspection.
Right.
And so we set up a GoFundMe page, and we're about a third of the way to our goal of raising the $100,000. But basically, we only have until October 18th to get that done, because
The
Yeah,
second
yeah,
today
I
is
know.
we're
We're talking
talking.
about 2.5 weeks, because if I don't have the money by then to get the space ready, then I actually have to start shutting down the warehouse. And that's going to take, either way, to move or to shut down, it's going to take weeks. And, to move all that equipment and put it in storage, and sell what we can't store, because we did actually just get funding, a $1.5 million appropriation by the state, to build a 10,000 square foot warehouse in St. Johns County. So we're in the process of that, but that's still about a year and a half to 2 years before that project's going to be
Sure.
complete. I don't want to save that equipment for that. I want to have that equipment here, and I want to be able to continue doing what we do and continue to grow.
Our community
yeah,
clearly needs it.
yeah, and just to show how much we've grown. Just 6 months ago, we were only processing about 500 to 600,000 pounds of food a month, and today, because we continue to source more food and prove that that we can handle those volumes, we're processing between 800,000 and 900,000 pounds of food every month. And so, we
I can't
need.
even visualize that.
It's a lot.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
And so we just need a space. We're all willing to roll up our sleeves and do the work, as for whatever it takes. We just need a space to do it, and we need help getting there. And then the other thing is we are going to need ongoing help, because our rent for this new space is going to be about $4,000 more a month than what we are currently in.
Mhm.
And in these tough economic times, donations are down. And so we kind of have this 1-2 situation that we need both,
Right.
and able to
The immediate
to move
the
and then
future.
to sustain and then continue to grow and help more people. But if you look at the investment, if we're, even, for the $100,000 to move and then the $4,000 a month increase in rent, but we're putting out $1 to $1.5 million worth of food in this county. And
that's really if you're feeding, let's just call it 2,000 families, right? And that's $2 a family. Somebody can sponsor a family.
Yeah.
If we had people look at it at that perspective for
Mhm.
the month to month,
Yeah.
we could all, at 50 cents, four of us could chip in and take care of a family.
Mhm.
And then on that note, so you have a goal of 100,000,
Yes.
and you are currently at
34,000.
34,000. So you need 66,000 in a very short timeline
Yes.
to do that.
Yes.
And then obviously some help in
Ongoing.
that process. So there's multiple ways that people could help.
Yes.
People could step up in a large monetary immediate assistance.
Yes.
Then you could look at the long term and donating to that.
Mhm.
And I would love to find a way that we could adopt a family and do that. That would be an amazing opportunity. Or if financial assistance maybe you are struggling with the same, issue of not being able to, afford the groceries that are going on, but you're still able to feed your family, you can come volunteer.
Yes.
So there's a lot that
and a lot of our in Putnam County, I would say 90% of our volunteers are also our recipients. So they're our patrons, but they can't afford to to give back financially because they need us. But how they help us is just to volunteer, and they're the ones that just show up and never miss a day. Just always come ready to work, and we don't have air conditioning or heat, so we work in the elements, and these people will work all summer long in 100-degree weather. It's incredible what they sacrifice and are willing to suffer to make this happen.
that's intense.
Mhm.
I feel like I don't know. I wish I could just, write a check right now. I think we all would have that dream that after hearing what you're doing, I can't imagine anyone watching this and not feeling like our community needs this. You have gifted this to our community through your efforts, just inspired by watching something. And so I hope that when somebody watches this, that they can be inspired to serve their own community and step up. So number one, we're going to leave the link below to the GoFundMe.
Perfect.
Number two, if they want to get involved or they want to brainstorm ideas or they have any questions, how do they reach out?
They can just, through our website, you can do the contact form, and that all comes directly to me, or you can just email support@epic-cure.org.
Okay.
All of those, I answer all those emails, and I answer all of them within 24 hours.
Okay.
And I always say that if somebody's willing to engage in a productive way, I engage. And so if you're there to help me, I'll be there with you.
Right. Scratch your back, I'll scratch you.
Yes, yeah. I'll be happy to collaborate, work together, because this is really important. And like I said, we're just on such a tight timeline. It's just it's going to be once we get the money, then it's a massive amount of effort to accomplish what we need to accomplish in just 6 weeks.
Well, I believe in this community. I've watched us step up time and time again for those in need. I've watched us take care of our own. I've watched us take care of others. I mean, we were just having a conversation before we got in here that you're helping take care of others in need right now by flying food out. Is that correct?
Yeah, so we're responding to a lot of humanitarian relief efforts right now for Georgia. And so we just sent a truckload up today. We're working with the aviation partnership. I'm not sure what the exact name is.
Daniel Rust. He has the aviation school over there. In the back of my head, Daniel, I'm sorry if you're watching this. I know what your business name is called, but it's just gone.
Yes, and so we just sent 4 pallets to them yesterday, and we're starting collection efforts with all of our friends and businesses, and we've been working with churches that have been reaching out to us, and they're sending people that can move food directly into areas in need and have that distribution system set up. And so we're doing everything we can to respond to all of those requests and like I said, and doing collections. But luckily we have a lot of those MREs because after every hurricane season, all the counties, like, they have to replenish their supplies. They don't keep them from year to year. So basically they give them to us instead of throwing them away. So all of our MREs have come from disaster relief. I know. And so we just keep it and, like, all right, we're ready when it happens.
Wild.
And so we send that.
But and you're still helping. You still have other counties you're serving. You're still helping others while you're in this dire situation.
Yes. Well, that's what I said. I told all the volunteers, and we've made that message very clear that our foot is on the gas pedal. We're not intending to fail. So we are keeping all of our sources and even gaining more sources as we're going through this crisis. Right. And because we know how important it is, and we want to have all those sources in place when we make that move.
Right. Well, I urge you, if you're watching this, to please, whatever, even if it's $1, every penny counts. Every share of this video. Maybe somebody is out there and they can help, and they just don't know what's going on. I mean, when I first had the conversation, I thought you were still in need of a building. Yeah. But this part is something that, please spread the word. Please share this video. Share it amongst your civic groups. Share it with your neighbor. You never know who might be able to step up, but just doesn't know how to step up. Yes. So thank you for taking your time out of your obviously very busy schedule. And I hope that we can work together in saving Epic-Cure here in Putnam County. Thank you. Continuing to help serve others.
Thank you so much for helping us.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right, guys, we'll see you on the next episode.